Hello students, welcome to Standard 12 online tutorial. You are studying the principles of inheritance and the chapter children. In the last lecture we had talked about the concept of the Mendel's contribution, that is the monohybrid cross. We had also talked about the test cross and the back cross. And in the last lecture children I gave you some homework. Okay, of course do solve the questions and do submit it to me. Today we shall talk about the two laws which were being given by the Mendel, that is the law of segregation and law of, we can say, dominance. Also we shall talk about the factors which contribute the law of segregation, that is the incomplete dominance and the co-dominance, as well as we shall talk about the law of independent assortment and the dihybrid cross children. Now first of all, let us talk about the two laws that which the Mendel gave. The first one is law of dominance and the other one, there is the law of segregation. Now law of dominance, see what did the Mendel did? He told that there are two we can say units which controls the character or which controls the trait of a gene, or we can say factor. Okay, now both we can say these two factors or the genes are present in the pairs. Okay, and the third one, that is the genes which expresses itself is called the dominant gene or the dominant factor, while the other, it is known as recessive. Okay, understood children? Now, so he stated that the two units which controls the trait of a particular character, that is known as the gene or the factor, we can say. Now two factors are always present in the pairs, that is in the form of alleles, we can say. And the genes which expresses itself is called the dominant, while the other is known as the what children? Recessive. Okay. Now let us talk about the other one, that is the law of segregation. Now law of segregation states that in the phenotype of the F1 generation, both the units which are present in the alleles, we can say in the form of pairs, they segregate, that is they get separated, and in the F2 generation they unite. Now this law is known as the what children? Law of segregation. Now see, law of segregation can be, we can say, studied by incomplete dominance and we can say the other one, that is the co-dominance. Okay children? Okay, now let us first of all talk about the incomplete dominance children. Now the incomplete dominance was being studied by Mendel by using the snapdragon flower. Now let us take an example, that is he took the male flower, that is the, we can say, red, whereas the female flower, that is the white. Now this red was, we can say, dominant, whereas the white, we can say, was recessive. Okay. Now over here, let us talk about what it has to say, that is the parents, male and the female. Okay. Now the phenotype, that is what children? Red and the white. Now the genotype, that is about R, white, that is smaller. Now why we are not taking small w? Because for our easy understanding and the conveniency, okay, we are taking the pairs of alleles, we can say contrasting characters together. So the genes we can say, okay, that is the R and the R, okay, and the F1 generation, that will you get the what children? R. Now normally in the monohybrid cross, what we had studied, that this particular character will result into which type of flower, that is the red flower. But as it is the case of incomplete dominance, now incomplete dominance means what children? Wherein the one allele does not express itself fully or it expresses partially, it is known as the incomplete dominance. Like over here, the red genotype or the red flower does not express itself. So what will happen is that it will be a mixture of this thing. That is the type of the color that the flower will produce will be pink, okay, and it will be heterozygous pink. It will be what children? Heterozygous pink. Okay, any doubt over here? Now let us calculate the F2 generation, phenotype and the genotype. So that is the F2 generation, male RR and the female, that is the RR. Okay, so let us crisscross. So what happens over here? We will make the Punnett square. That is R. Okay, that is, we can say, this is the symbol for male and the female. Okay, now over here let us talk about this. That is the RR, then the RR, then the RR, and then the RR. Now let us talk about the genotype or the phenotypic constitution. So this will be complete, we can say homozygous, we can say red. It will be what children? Homozygous red. Okay, now this will be what children? Heterozygous. But what will be the color of the flower children? That will be the pink, because of the incomplete dominance. That is heterozygous pink. Okay, again that will be heterozygous pink, and this one will be homozygous, that is the white. Okay, now let us calculate the phenotype and the genotype. So phenotype will be what children? 1. Okay, that is, we can say, okay, 3:1. But the genotype will be, we can say, 1:2:1, we can say. That is the, we can say, the genotypic ratio. Okay, now again see, let us cross check the phenotype. That is the 1:2, 2:1. So both the phenotype and the genotypic ratio will be what children? The same in the incomplete dominance. What in the complete dominance, what would be the phenotypic ratio? That would be, we can say, 3:1, tall and the short. यहाँ पे क्या होता है? 1 is for homozygous red, 2 is for heterozygous pink, and white is for, we can say, homozygous white. And again the genotype, that is homozygous red. Okay, then the heterozygous pink and the homozygous white, we can say. Now the question to you over here is that why does this incomplete dominant took place? Because of the fact that, okay, there are 3 possibilities that we can say. Let us say that a gene produces an enzyme. Now whenever any enzyme has to be produced, that is to be what children? A substrate. And a substrate forms the what class? Enzyme substrate complex, and this enzyme substrate complex gives the what class? The product, and the enzyme that disintegrates or degrades the enzyme. So for that enzyme, the substrate has to be produced children. Okay, now for this substrate to be produced and the enzyme to work upon, now for a particular substrate there are 3 possibilities by which the enzyme works. Now the first possibility is that normal enzyme, or we can say less functional enzyme, okay. The other one, that is the no, what you can say, production of enzyme, and then we can say the third one, that is the no enzyme at all, or non-production meaning non-functional, okay, enzyme we can say, rather write it, that is non-functional enzyme. No functional enzyme. Okay. Now, so if the first case, if the normal or the less functional enzyme is being there, then what happens? There will be no change in the phenotypic aspect, we can say. But what if the no functional enzyme is being produced? Then there will be a change in the, what we can say, the phenotypic ratio. Over here we can say the functional enzyme is what over here? That is the genes which are controlling the characters of red and white children. So what will happen over here is that the enzyme will produce, okay, but in the less quantity, or no functional enzyme, that is the enzyme will not work. So what will happen? It will not express itself, or it will express partially. So in that case, okay, in this both the cases, the phenotype will be affected, and that is the case of, we can say, what children? The incomplete dominance children. Okay, so please do look at this, and if you have doubt, then please tell me. Now, the next, that is the case of, we can say, codominance. Now, so children, यहाँ पे हमने ये देखा कि कोई एक एलील जो है या डोमिनेंट, वो किसी तरह काम नहीं करता या पार्शियली एक्सप्रेस करता है अपने आप को उस कैरेक्टर के लिए. लेकिन what happens if both the genes are dominant, or both the factors they express themselves, children? So in that case, let us study the case of, we can say, codominance. Now the codominance, we can say, is being studied in the, okay, blood groups of the humans. Okay, these blood groups of humans, they produce, and we can say, the allele known as the, or we can say blood group, that is the ABO, or there are three different types, that is ABO. Okay, now they produce a gene known as the I. Okay, now this I has three, what you can say, alleles, that is the IA, IB, and we can say I. Okay, now this IA, okay, if it expresses, the blood group will be what, children? A. If B expresses, it will be B. If no expresses, the blood group will be O, we can say. Okay, now why it is? Because the plasma membrane of the blood group, okay, or the blood of the human beings, has a sugar synthesis on its surface. Now this sugar synthesis had an attachment to its surface where the sugars can bind the other. In that case, they produces the 6 different types of. Now what are they? Let us see. That is a person having, we can say, let us see, that is, okay, allele from parent I. Okay, then the other one, that is the allele from parent B, we can say. Okay, that is the parent 1, or we can say parent 2. Then the genotype, okay, and the possible blood group. Okay, now let us say that the parent is, we can say, having IA allele. And what if it has again the parent who has IA? That is the male and the female. Let us consider this. That is the male and the female. तो क्या होगा? AA will express. So the genotype will be IA. Both the cases, the gene expresses. The blood group will be what, children? A. Okay. IA, IB. So the possibilities IA, IB. So the blood group will be both. यानी कि okay, both the genes will expresses themselves. So the blood group will be AB, children. Okay. Now the other one, that is IA. Then we can say I. So what will be there? IA, then the I. So in this case, the small I will not be produced. Okay, so the blood group will be what, children? That is the A. Okay, understood? Any doubt over here, children? Now let us talk about the other one. That is the parent male is B, and the mother is also, we can say, having the B. Okay, so genotype will be IB. So the possibility will be, we can say, B blood group. Okay, similarly, that is IB, then the IA. So what will be? IB, IA. So the possibility will be AB. And okay, in both the cases, if the parent is, we can say, I. Okay, क्या होगा? It will be I. So the parent will be O, or the possible blood group of that child will be what, children? O. So this is how we can say we can come to know children. Okay, understood? That is why. Any doubt over here, children? Okay, so this is how it expresses. Even the other one, that is the IB, we can say I. That is IB, then the I. So the blood group will be, we can say, B, children. Okay, it can be. So from this we can easily come to know that is the the cases wherein both the gene expresses themselves. It is known as the what, children? The concept of codominance. Okay. Now let us see an example. That is the seeds which are having the dominant character, we can say, of the B type, we can say, or we can say the seeds as such, we can say they are producing the starch, we can say. So the allele which is having B produces very large amount of starch, whereas B produces less amount of starch, we can say. Now if at all BB is produced, so what happens? Large amount of starch. If BB is produced, though, small amount of starch, we can say. But what if the BB, we can say, it is produced, we can say what? The mixing, or we can say it produces large amount of starch. But on the contradictory, it is being seen that this produces the round seeds, whereas this produces the wrinkled seeds. Okay. Now it depends upon the factors which contribute and the expression of a particular gene, we can say. Okay. So till here we have completed the two topics, that is the incomplete dominance and the codominance. So just look at it and then we shall move on to the other part, we can say. Now, the next topic that we are going to study is the law of independent assortment. Now law of independent assortment, what it says here, and we can say dihybrid cross. Independent assortment. Okay, now that is the dihybrid cross. Okay, now see, it's a general question to you people that suppose an individual is tall, okay, has it to be he or she white, यानी कि अगर कोई बंदा tall है वो white होगा ही होगा? The answer is no, children. Yeah, if the person is short or a dwarf, we can say, with a small height, can the individual be always black? No. So the person who is tall can be white or black, and the person who is short can be also white or black. So white, okay, complexion से tallness से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, या तो black से small को कोई लेना देना नहीं है. So both the genes for height and the color of an individual is totally different. So that case we are going to study over here is the law of independent assortment, meaning the law states that for a particular expression of a gene in the dihybrid cross, both the genes are independent of each other, children. Okay, meaning the law which expresses, or the gene which expresses for a particular character is independent for the gene for the another character. Meaning tall को white से या black से कोई लेना देना नहीं है, या white और black को tall से लेना देना नहीं है. So that is the case. Understood? So this is all about. Now let us talk about the, we can say, a male character and the female character, that is the parents. These parents have a phenotype, that is the male, okay, has the what, children? Yellow and round seeds. So the seed color is what, children? Yellow, which is dominant, and round, the shape is also what we can say, the dominant. Okay. Now the female, that is in the recessive form, तो yellow का allele क्या होगा? Green. And round का क्या होगा, children? Wrinkled. That is the seeds, children. Okay. Now let us talk about the genotype, children. Y, R. Green. Y, R. Okay? Understood? Now, see, there is a checkpoint coming over here. You need to please watch this video carefully, children. That is the genetic constitution. That is the YR. Okay? Understood? Now, let us talk about the F1 generation that it has. Now F1 generation, meaning what, children? That is how you will do this, children. What mistake you will do, children? That is I am talking about. Y, we can say R. Now what you will do? That is Y, then the YR, then the RR. Okay, that you will do. This is completely wrong, children. Now what is the corrected version? Y, R. Okay, that is the YR. That is the yellow round. This is the small. That is the green round. This is the yellow wrinkle. And this is the okay. yellow, sorry, that is the green wrinkle. Okay, that is right. Now over here, so this is what the F1 generation will look like, children. Okay, what mistake you will do? You will do this thing. Don't do this in the exam, because law of independent assortment states what, children, that is a gene controlling one character is independent of the gene controlling the other character. Tall से white को कोई लेना देना नहीं है, short और black को कोई लेना देना नहीं है. दूसरा white yellow और round को कोई लेना देना नहीं है. Okay, या green और wrinkle को कोई लेना देना नहीं है. So what you will do is you will mix these two things, children. ये आपको कतई ही नहीं करनी है, children. Okay, now let us calculate the, we can say, the F2 generation. Okay, that is, take all this as a parent. So Y R, then the Y R, then the Y R, then the Y R. Similarly, the same case with the other part. That is the Y R, Y R, Y R, and Y R. Okay, now just do it. Segregate karo. Y Y, Y Y, R R, R R. Now in both the cases, both the genes are what, children? Dominant. So क्या होगा? Resultant characters yellow, and this will be, we can say, round. Okay. Now this one, capital Y, capital R, small r. So क्या होगा? Both the Y are capital. So what will be the resultant character? Yellow. And dominant and recessive. So क्या होगा? Which one will express, children? R, capital R. And what will be the resultant, what you can say, phenotype? That is the round, children. Okay. Now again this one, capital Y, small y, capital R, capital R. So what will be the case? Yellow and the round. Okay. Then again, capital Y, small y, capital R, small r. Now look here. In this case, what will happen is that Y will express capital Y. That is the dominant gene. That is the yellow. And over here, what will express? Capital R. That is the round, we can say. Okay, that is right. Now, what I am doing is, student, I am leaving it blank as it is. Do complete this and show it to me via the WhatsApp. Take the photograph and just WhatsApp me so that I can check. Now, what you have to do is you have to calculate the phenotypic ratio. That is yellow round. Yellow round कितने हैं? Then the yellow wrinkle कितने हैं, children? Then the green round कितने हैं यहाँ से? And green wrinkle. Okay, what are these ratio? That is the phenotypic ratio of F2 generation. That is the, we can say, F2 generation. That is the filial generation. Okay, the filial second form of children. So you just need to calculate कि कितने round yellow round है इसमें से, yellow wrinkle कितने हैं, green round कितने हैं और green wrinkle कितने हैं, children. You will get the ratio. जो ratio आया आपको वो आपको count करके यहाँ पे लिखना है. Just WhatsApp me and I'll check it, children. So this is all about this lecture, children. We have studied what, children? The incomplete dominance, codominance, then the dihybrid cross, that is the law of independent assortment. In the next lecture, we will start about the chromosomal theory of inheritance, the sex determination in the human beings, and the other various topics we can say. I hope you all have seen this, like the video, and please do not forget to write this homework and upload to me in the WhatsApp via WhatsApp, children, so that I can come to know, and I can give you other sums for practice as well, children. Now this is very easy and very scoring chapter also, children, from the board's point of view, children. Okay, so this is the case. Okay, I hope you all understand. If not, then please feel free to ask me your doubts. Okay, share your doubts, feel free to ask me. Okay, so this is all for this lecture. Thank you very much. Stay home, stay safe.